Now we're going to talk about how to clean up the egg after it's completely dried. This just gives you an idea of how much shrinkage there is in the mold. There's a little bit, but not too much. So I've cleaned a little bit of the egg off camera, but I left one side of the seam line intact with a little bit of the mess on the bottom, and I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to clean up the seam lines. So with a cup of water and a paintbrush, this is the same one, it's a round brush, the one I used to paint the insides of the mold with the Flumo, and my normal two tools, the exacto knife and the dental tool, and I also have a pin that has a glass head on it. And I have a series of sandpaper. 60 is to take off the rough spots. 100 is to just kind of smooth it up and get it ready to start really sanding. And then I go through the series of finer grade sandpaper so that it comes out to a very smooth glass-like finish. And that's 320, 220, 400, and 600. Actually, you do 220 first, then 320, 400, and 600. And by the time you're done, by the time you're sanding with the 600, it's very smooth, and then it'll be ready to paint. Okay, so half of the egg I've done off camera, and this side of the egg has the seam on it. So I'm just going to, let me put this here so you can see, dip the paintbrush into the water and just paint it over the seam line here. And a little bit on the area where the pour hole was. Okay. And then using the exacto knife, I'm just going to gently scrape off a little bit at a time. Now you're just really scraping, you're not gouging. You just scrape off whatever you can. Each time you wet the dried Flumo, it will soften just a little bit more. You can always sand off a little lump easier than it takes to fill a big gouge mark. So just go very gently along the side here. And then at the bottom, sometimes I just dip the knife itself and bring up a little bit of water. And I can feel with my finger that that's pretty smooth. The rest of it I can take off with the sandpaper. And I'm just going to go a couple of more times on the seam line. Okay, and then while you have a little wet scraped Flumo, you just look around and see if there's any holes to patch. This one doesn't really have, here's a tiny little nick of a hole, so what I'll just do is I'll take some of that Flumo and just patch it up the way you would spackle a wall. Once it's smooth, you're going to, at that point, begin to sand it, and you're going to use the 60 grit sandpaper along the side seams, and then move to the 100, and then all the way up 320, 400, all the way up to 600. Now once the egg is completely sanded and done, you're going to take a paper towel, and just a dry paper towel, and then brush off all of the sanding. And then you're going to spray a paper towel with your water bottle, and then just lightly wipe off the egg. and then you'll get like a slight sheen. And in a few minutes to a half hour, it'll be dry and ready to paint.